Let me shift gears to one more topic that I wanted to make sure we touched on while we had time with everybody today. And Elizabeth, I'm going to start with you, but interested in anybody's perspective on this. There are a lot of changes coming with respect to accounting standards, what I call new GAAP, but revenue recognition, leasing, credit losses, hedging even that's coming up, and that sort of thing. There's a lot that companies will need to absorb in any one or all of these areas, depending on what their businesses are. This is where we can get pretty practical, because this is an issue we're all dealing with this year as companies are working on implementing 606 on revenue recognition and that sort of thing. How is new GAAP impacting our risk assessment? Is the adoption of a new accounting standard always a significant risk, or what factors will drive that, and what's working in terms of the risk assessment around that, and where do we need to improve?
So I would say that it's of course all going to start with the company's own risk assessment of the new accounting standards and their own ability to understand the new accounting standard requirements and translating that to the sources of potential misstatement in their own organization, and getting a handle on where there's going to be new processes and controls, changes to their estimations, to be able to adopt the new accounting standards. So, that process is underway already for us. Even for those companies who are behind and have not already started to implement changes to their processes and systems, they should by now be doing their assessment of the risks. And so we as auditors are already trying to get an understanding of their ability to figure out their own population of risks of misstatement. And I think that this is challenging as the SEC continues to point out that disclosures about the expected impact of the new standards have been too vague. I think companies, in particular in the area in the industry I often work in, which is retail, I think have assumed that this isn't going to be as big of a deal, and so they're a little bit behind, and that could raise issues with our assessment of their risk assessment. Maybe they thought it's been something that won't impact them, and so they're assuming that the sources of potential misstatement are the same as under current GAAP, and they haven't yet thought through where things need to be relooked at.
Mm-hmm. What else? What are you seeing, Maria, in this area?
Well, I think the same, very much so. And those that are ahead and have a thorough implementation plan and are working through the details will probably be more successful in adjusting, if any, for example, their controls at the end of the day.
There are, just a second, Philip, there are some industries, and retail is a great example, where there may be sort of an assumption that the standard doesn't have much of an impact, but you also have to look at the disclosure requirements that are in the standard, which may be very different from what a company is disclosing today, and their systems currently may not provide the information that they need to provide accurate information. Philip, what were you going to add?
I think, Dave, as you were describing the list of standards, and there are more coming behind those, it seems to me that we're moving into a period where companies' abilities to acquire new technical knowledge, to have defined control processes to analyze the impacts of new GAAP, to do that on a timely basis. This standard's been available for 4 years. Most of the questions before the TRG were finished 10 months ago. I think this year, this standard gives auditors a rich opportunity to educate, inform audit committees and management around opportunities for them to improve their processes to adopt new GAAP, because we're going to repeat this exercise. We're going to repeat it in our private companies, we're going to repeat it with new standards. And the sooner companies understand that, the better. I would add to that, most of the new accounting standards are increasingly requiring data to be gathered at the transaction level, whether it's for disclosures or for variation and defense of recognition and measurement. The standard setting process is starting to really drill down to this transaction. I need these pieces of information in order to record, report, and disclose what's required by GAAP.
Yeah. The only other thing that occurred to me is back to management and how they're thinking about it. We have not seen so much change on the accounting side in a generation, is what I say. Right. And so companies as well, the people that probably help with a lot of the change, maybe during Sarbanes-Oxley, Are they still around? Like, who knows how to go through large-scale implementations? Oh, by the way, they're coming right after one
Right,
another,
right.
right? They could be impacting you. So do you have the right group of people that can really help the company navigate what's coming?
Have you dusted your new GAAP controls off the shelf and given them a polish up?
Yeah, are people fit and ready to what's
Right.
coming? I mean, all
Well,
these
that's right.
things.
And,
Right?
and how many companies are adopting the revenue recognition standard using spreadsheets, knowing that they've got to change systems,
Yeah.
so they'll have even more internal control changes in the future.